Protest and pushback in Florida with a new potential legal battle over race education.
I can't believe that this is 2023 and America is talking about censoring education.
Civil rights attorney Ben Crump announcing his plan to sue Republican Governor Ron DeSantis and the state after DeSantis blocked a pilot AP African American Studies course in Florida.
No to censorship. No to censorship. Yes to community.
Now, the New York Times had a fascinating way of framing this story involving Florida Governor Ron DeSantis censoring college education curriculum in the state of Florida, which led to the stripping of advanced placement African American studies. I'm gonna give you the details on what he's doing in just a moment, but I just could not get past this framing. DeSantis takes on the education establishment and builds his brand.
Thank you, New York Times. The paper of record. Record-breaking speed towards fascism.
More often than not, there will be a provocative and incredibly dumb headline, but the piece itself isn't as bad. But no, this piece was pretty bad. Let's go to the first paragraph real quick, and then I want to hear your thoughts. Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida, as he positions himself for a run for president next year, has become an increasingly vocal culture warrior, vowing to take on liberal orthodoxy and its champions, whether they are at Disney, on Martha's Vineyard, or in the state's public libraries. Now, I just love that they mentioned a wealthy enclave, a massive corporation, to aid and abet Ron DeSantis in posturing as some sort of economic populist, when in reality, he is anything but.
Yeah, they don't really fundamentally care about Disney. They're victimizing some of the least powerful groups and individuals in our society. Yeah, like he's a culture warrior, taking on a random second grade teacher, taking on trans high schoolers, you know, that monolith, big transgender he's taking on, and it's about damn time. I think it's nice of the New York Times to provide a second job to someone like Ron DeSantis, allowing him to write articles about himself. I think that's an interesting choice.
I mean, he might as well have, right?
He's taking on the educational staff. That's like if someone were to plant a bomb in Twitter headquarters, they're taking on big tech.
Right.
I guess, kind of. That's not really what they're doing though. And like he's challenging liberal orthodoxy, like reading factual history about black poets. You know, that liberal orthodoxy. This is not, I don't know if this is them trying to appeal to conservatives, as they constantly do, believing that if they go way beyond the bounds of what the right would say is fair, that they'll get some conservatives to watch. I don't know if it's that, or if they are genuinely so terrified of Donald Trump getting elected again that they're going to do whatever they can to have Ron DeSantis beat him, including lying about who he is and what he represents. But I don't like it either way, and I can't imagine that any of the people actually reading the New York Times are fans of that.
I mean, I don't know, but because the New York Times has awful framing in their headlines on a regular basis, and this one was just so incredibly jarring considering the censorious nature of what Ron DeSantis and conservative politicians in Florida are doing. Yes, when it comes to grade schools, they're banning books, they're terrorizing teachers, they're threatening them with prosecution. If they deem that a book within their classroom has pornographic material in it, but they're, of course, their standards for what is deemed pornography is pretty hilarious. I mean, we've given you examples in the past where it's clearly not pornographic material, but they just want to ban books. Like it's
an acknowledgement of other gender identities, an acknowledgement of other sexualities. We're not talking about graphic depictions of anal sex.
No,
that's not what we're talking about.
We're talking about a book where two of the main characters happen to be gay, that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's not pornographic material, you freaks. But anyway, but he didn't stop there. And what's so disgusting is that the College Board in the state of Florida has decided to concede to what Ron DeSantis is trying to do on a college level, okay? So first, let's start with the advanced placement classes that high school students take. And oftentimes those classes count for college credits, okay? That's why the College Board has control over them and control over the curriculum. So facing pressure from DeSantis, the College Board conceded to his demands and stripped much of the subject matter pertaining to African American studies from their curriculum. Because, the poor snowflakes in the state of Florida might melt if students have the option to take a class that has a curriculum that makes them uncomfortable. And option is really a key word here, okay? This is not mandatory curriculum for high school students. This is an optional elective that's part of the advanced placement program in Florida. Now, after facing pressure from DeSantis, they decided to strip it out, okay? So here's what they did. The College Board purged the names of many Black writers and scholars associated with critical race theory, the queer experience, and Black feminism. It ushered out some politically fraught topics like Black Lives Matter from the formal curriculum, and it added something new. Black conservatism is now offered as an idea for a research project. Interesting.
Oh, so there will be something.
Yeah, it seems like it almost seems like they're propagandizing education in Florida. I could be wrong,
It almost seems like that.
Almost.
Yeah, no, it's a group of racist conservatives who would never take the course, that would never allow their kids, if they had the ability to allow them to take, they're never gonna be in the course, telling another group of people, you can't learn accurate history. It's not gonna affect me either way because I'm not gonna take it. I'm a racist and I'm not interested in it, but you can't get accurate history. And
as an option, again.
As an option, again, that they won't take. And now that they've done this, they will completely forget about it because it has no effect on their lives. They were not interested to begin with. And they will move on to some other topic where they can ruin things for kids who just want to learn about, something tangentially related to politics, like Black Lives Matter, one of the biggest social movements of multiple generations.
I remember when I was in college, this was when I was in grad school, and you were in grad school for the same reason. We both took poli-sci as our majors for graduate school. I remember sitting in those classes, hearing about all the different political theories, and there were some I agreed with, some I disagreed with. But knowing about all those different theories in political science was part of the education that allowed for me to think critically about what makes sense. When it comes to international relations, there are different frameworks, different theories in which you can analyze what transpires, what motivates certain geopolitical efforts. Imagine someone coming in, John, a governor coming in and saying like, you know what, I don't like the theory of liberalism. So I want you to just erase it from your curriculum because it offends me. What?
Or because I've convinced my constituents that it should offend them.
Right, exactly.
So now we'll get rid of it so that they will feel better.
Because I'm gonna run for president next year, and so I need to like puff up my chest and posture as someone who's actually looking out for the people of Florida, when in reality, none of that is happening, none of that. So let me give you some more details on what's happening. So the school board, the College Board specifically, expunged writers and scholars, which include Kimberly Crenshaw, a law professor at Columbia, which touts her work as foundational in critical race theory. Roderick Ferguson, a Yale professor who has written about queer social movements, and Ta-Nehisi Coates, the author who has made the case for reparations for slavery. Gone too is Bell Hooks, the writer who shaped discussions about race, feminism, and class. Also in its revised 234-page curriculum framework, the content on Africa, slavery, Reconstruction, and the civil rights movement remains largely the same, but the study of contemporary topics including Black Lives Matter, incarceration, queer life, and the debate over reparations is downgraded. And let's not make a mistake about this, okay? The school board 100% caved, not the school board, the College Board, 100% caved to the demands of Ron DeSantis. Why? Well, they make a lot of money from these advanced placement classes, and they don't want to risk that stuff. So let's get to those numbers real quick. Graphic 6 here. Acceptance for the new curriculum is important to the College Board, a nonprofit, because AP courses are a major source of revenue. The book took in more than $1 the board took in more than $1 billion in program service revenue in 2019, of which more than $490 million came from AP, meaning advanced placement, and instruction, according to its tax-exempt filing.
Yeah, so you can get your revenue and people won't learn anything. Seems like that would be core to your mission. Maybe some of them have convinced, well, some of them probably are conservatives and they like this. They're fans of it, or they see, maybe DeSantis becomes president and some of these higher up execs in the College Board maybe get some sort of other position or something like that. They're probably thinking, what about Department of Education? I could become briefly the secretary of that before it's dissolved. Wouldn't that be great? But yeah, no, it's a victory for the right, for censorship. That's what it, look.
It's 100% censorship.
We obviously,
that's it. That's all it is.
Yeah, we talk about this a lot, and we'll analyze it at a variety of levels. But this is just racist messaging to appeal to racist voters and people who believe that they are against censorship and for small government, desperately wanting a massive government that's going to propagandize to kids, crush independent and critical thought, and wipe out any book that anyone ever feels uncomfortable about. That's what it's about. And I'm sure right-wing pundits are very happy today for the censorship that they've got, because that's what they're into. They spent years building up this intellectual dark web that was supposed to be against literally all of this. They, even in the case of Dave Rubin, wrote about like, don't burn this book, you censorious lefties, and now he is super quiet for years.
No, he loves it. He loves it, right? Because look, at this point, it's almost boring and cliche to call the right wing hypocrites. It is who they are, right? So anytime they claim that their motivation for doing something is due to wanting to protect free speech or whatever reason they give you, it's BS. They don't care about free speech at all. Look, the thing that attracted me to the left back in 2007 when I started working at TYT was it was the right wing that was constantly going around trying to censor everything, including comedians, by the way. That was their thing, especially in 2007. And I thought it was gross. And by the way, they never changed. They're the same people. The only reason why they pretend they want to protect comedians is because some of the right-wing comedians came out saying things about, the transgender community or other disenfranchised communities that the right wing loves, and they want to protect that, right? But whenever it's content or something like a drag show that they don't like, they want to shut it down right away. Proud Boys showed up to a drag show in Utah, of course, to be incredibly threatening and to shut it down. By the way, it doesn't matter if it's a drag show that's completely non-sexual, doesn't matter if it's a drag show that doesn't even have any children involved whatsoever, they just want to shut it down. They are as censorious as you could imagine. And to give you final example of that, John, I don't know if you saw this story. There's a small liberal arts college in Sarasota, Florida. Get a load of what Ron DeSantis is doing to it.
At the new College of Florida's recent student meeting with new board members.
Article 3 is titled religious. Should we, let's go to another person. I want to make sure that we get as many people as possible, but I'm happy to answer your question.
Tensions are running high as a student asked a follow-up question. Governor Ron DeSantis recently replaced 6 of the board's 13 members in an apparent bid to transform this intimate 700-person liberal arts college into what Florida's Commissioner of Education has touted as a Hillsdale of the South, referring to a private Christian university with explicit conservative views. One of the new board members, Chris Rufo, told a New York Times columnist the board has plans to conduct a top-down restructuring and design a new core curriculum from scratch, including scrapping diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives.
You've called the instatement of the new board and what you're looking to do as a hostile takeover of the college. Why is the word hostile necessary?
Sure, it's a fact.
So you're an adult going to college and your options will be limited in the state of Florida because as an adult, you're not allowed to choose what you want to learn about.
Yeah, no, look, to the extent that they can take over all education, they will. It doesn't start with Ron DeSantis, obviously Donald Trump and Betsy DeVos and all that were doing that, but you can go back to Trump and all that. It's the fascist takeover of education. That's literally all it is. Chris Rufo is an enthusiastic participant in that. He does not want people to go to college to learn things. He wants there to be something technically that's higher education, I guess technically because it would look weird if we didn't have it, but that is only around to maintain the status quo. That's literally it. It'll be Christian education, it'll be hierarchical education, that's all it's going to be. He's an enthusiastic participant in that. He is already being rewarded. That position comes with a salary.
Right.
He is making money for participating in the fascist takeover of American education. That's it.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. We really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.